And we're live.
Oh,
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever anyone out there who happens to be watching this. My name is Nick. I will be your flame tender this evening. And we begin our game, our saga, in the desert of Ash. The camera, if you can imagine, panned out high, almost as tall as mountain peaks, down on the black, empty, desolate dunes of this endless desert that goes on for miles. Endless miles in all directions. No vegetation, no water, no distinguishing features to guide one through this inhospitable landscape. As we zoom in down towards the ground, you can see what looks almost like a small trail of ants, which gets larger as the camera pans down further and further, till you can make out the shapes and the movement of pack animals, of humanoid figures, perhaps 24 of them, laden with cargo of various sorts, water skins, crates, bags, and bundles of various shapes and sizes. And as the camera moves ever downward, we see the image center upon two figures. A tall reptilian figure carrying a long, wicked sword strapped to his back, and moving beside him, not walking, for this figure has no legs, but is a serpentine creature, a strange amalgamation of man and cobra, a species that some may know to be a typhon. And these two individuals are conversing amongst each other. Well, Hunrei, we have almost reached the end of our journey at long last. You have done quite well with the lessons I have taught you. I am surprised and grateful for your company and for your eager mind.
and I appreciate steps you have let me take towards perfection. I have learned much, and this place you call first. No, I get the words wrong. Newport. You say this is a place of much knowledge, many things to learn.
Yes. And your mastery, speedy though it was, of one of the many languages I know, will stand you in good stead in this new place. You should find much of interest and import in this place, for it is unlike any other location on all of Kavega Thale that I have seen. Sights, sounds. He flicks his tongue out, his forked serpentine tongue. Tastes that will not be found anywhere else on this world. It is always good to know as many languages as one can, for as you will soon discover, there are far more not like you than you may have been accustomed. and the
They
great
will,
horde in the east.
they will teach me. Oh, they will adorn my neck.
I have
I,
no doubt. If that is your intention. Your skill and strength has been a great comfort to me in more ways than one. You have shown skill against both man and beast with that large shard of metal that is strapped to your back. A dangerous opponent. I am relieved that you chose to approach me for knowledge rather than violence, for, of course, I would be quite outmatched. But, look, above these next few dunes, if you strain your eyes, you may yet see it silhouetted against the blue ocean, the body of Leviathan.
I will see it. In fact, I can smell it. Yes, I can smell it already.
And indeed you can. It's a strange smell, the smell wafting ever so slightly, but your keen sense of smell detects the presence of salt water, something that you have never seen in any great or large amount, for you've never seen the ocean. As your
and at
kind,
most, I've seen great rivers, and that has been the largest bodies of water I've ever seen.
indeed. And the sight as this caravan trail crests over the next dune, it sort of takes you a minute or a second to sort of understand what it is you're seeing. After all, you've been traveling this landscape through this desert for days upon days, almost 2 chains. And there's been nothing but the same horizon. The black ash that you feel between your toes, and you feel when the wind blows, biting at your scaly flesh. You see a break in that sameness, a strip, a horizontal strip of blue, and against that small amount of blue, a darkened area, a settlement of some sort. And as you approach further, you see more detail of this place. It is nestled against the coastline of the great Western Ocean. More water than you have ever seen, which is quite a tantalizing sight after going so long in a parched, dry wasteland. You see walls encircling this city. Not tall, not walls built to withstand a siege or keep out an army or enemies of any significant number, more to keep the encroaching desert and whatever creatures get too curious to approach closer. And as the caravan makes its way through the gates, your companion, who you've whose name has been given to you as Jin. Only Jin. Surprising, given your species' naming conventions. Your
I find that
propensity.
very odd. Like,
Indeed, he must not
that's not
have done
even.
great deeds.
No. He must. That is probably why he needed my aid to guard him. Because
Indeed.
he himself is not mighty.
But he stops you for a final word before passing on, before finally reaching this place, this location you've heard about so long ago now. Well, we are here. And we, though it pains me so, and he bows in deference and in gratitude and in recognition of your strength, for you are significantly taller than he is.
Mm-hmm.
Even if his serpentine form were completely laid out, you would likely still have some height on him. As I say, you have proven yourself time and again to be skillful and strong. But beware, and do not, please, take this as an insult or a challenge to your acumen, but there are creatures who make this place home. Those that do not trust. And you should also distrust dangerous peoples. I tell you, beware the sirens. The strange people, they do not dwell upon the land like you and I. They swim beneath the waves. They keep secrets beyond the depths. And two, always be prepared. Among the Kalfar, they are connivers, schemers, and they may seem weak, but they are not. Take care they do not betray you.
They will not have opportunity for such.
I have no doubt. But now I must take my leave. I thank you again, friend Hunrei. Hunrei, my sincere apologies.
Learn my name, for it is a mighty deed.
And he shrinks back at the audacity of getting your name mispronounced. I will be staying in this city for some time. There are others of my kind who make this place home as well. Trust in them as you have trusted in me. They know much. They can offer you much.
Tell me one thing, Jin.
Yes.
Does the mistress of slavery and her bride make home here? Does the feline prowl these shadows?
I am not certain. It has been some time since I have last passed through these ways. But I am sure whatever answers you seek, you will find in short time. I wish you good fortune, my friend. And he bows one last time and slithers on through the gates leaving you as the final Optalang passes down the streets, which are in and of themselves an interesting and unique and new convention you have not seen before.
Yeah, I have not seen cities before.
And you hear, now that your conversation is over, you take in more of your senses, and you hear more din and noise than you have in cycles since you last left your people. It's the noises of thousands of people congregating in one place, the smells of animals, people, food of various sorts.
Well, people are food. At least to me.
I did not say they were mutually exclusive.
Huh.
All wafting through the air.
I look upon these streets and these strange edifices, in at least what they are in my mind, and the sheer multitude of different smells and other species, other humanoids walking around, and some slithering around.
True.
I take in the smells for a good while. Not any specific one really being repulsive to me, for well, my dracoid sensibilities are different from those of well, Fae and Primate and Xian. And after I've done that for a few moments, I walk into this maze.
And a maze it is. This settlement, this city, you see, for the first time again, quite some time, you see outcroppings of solid rock emerge from beneath the sands here, as if the dunes covered or partially covered some small bluffs or outcroppings that have been swept away with the coming of this civilization, this settlement. And you see edifices, freestanding structures, but you also see abodes, businesses, all sorts of habitations built within the rock itself. A strange and alien architecture to your eyes. And we see you, Hunrei, acclimating yourself as best you can in this strange land, and almost like a montage. Several days go by, almost a chain, perhaps 8 or 9 days, which elapse seemingly in the course of seconds to the mind's eye here, as you scrounge and skulk your way amidst the labyrinthine streets and sideways and bazaars, plazas of this town, which is brimming with activity and with life of all kinds. You see people like you, Sirush. You see creatures with pale lavender skin, some almost pink, with strange, outlandish garb. You see creatures with feathers atop their heads, with gills on the sides of their necks, with bright blue skin. A myriad of creatures and species almost too many to count in your time. But you have no money in this place. The notion was alien to you when Jin tried his best to explain it.
Indeed, it was. To this day, I still think that trade is I do a thing for you, you do a thing for me. The concept of coin is very nebulous, and I believe he tried to explain it to me several times, and I didn't really get it. So more than, okay, metal, okay, I can give you this, and you will give it, but why this? This is useless. And just drop it to the ground.
And
But
perhaps
as we,
infuriatingly, you see much more of that, more useless janglings of metal bits. But you make do and get by as you always do, as you know you always could. You see, thankfully, perhaps for them, if they were to cross your path, no Xi'an crosses your eyes or your nose. But there are other creatures who you sate your appetite upon.
yes, the tiny children of the mistress of slavery. And as we can pan out from my montage view to another of the catalyst, I sit on top of one of these strange undergroundish looking buildings, on top of it with a good view over, perhaps not the entirety of Newport, but a good bit. I can see the harbor from my perch on top of someone else's business, probably, that they just haven't noticed me yet, or it's taking place at night. And I look out upon all the edifices, the harbor, and sounds and smell the smells. And as I sit there as the two moons rises, I go into my backpack and take out a dead cat and put it in my mouth and eats it on top of this building. As I bring forth a tome of various texts and pictures, I take my claw, a bit of powder from a hollowed out horn I carry in my backpack, some powder that I use for dyes. And then I begin to scratch into this leathery tome illustrations of this city. City, I think the word is. It is an important place, Jin said, and importance must be detailed and remembered. And the scritching and scratching of my claw on these hides and the crunching of feline bones in my mouth drowns out as we go to another catalyst, emerging somewhere else.
Yes. And the camera now moves far, far to the north. To another harbor. The harbor that borders the city, the great city of trade along the Red River. And we see there two figures. A strange couple, to be sure. One standing nearly 8 foot tall, the other perhaps only 10 or 11 inches. And they are waiting pensively for the transport that one of them has arranged, or so he claims. You both, Nay and Dill, await the vessel that will carry you from this place once you're home. Now, surely no longer. You cannot stay here. To the city that borders the Desert of Ash far to the south. And you see, after you wait for what seems like hours, before one of many vessels that sails lazily down the river, a long ship of sorts, but wide, with a deep bow, made of reed rather than wood, that so many of these human and other species create their ships and boats from. This one is constructed entirely of plant fiber, a golden sort of pigment to them, woven tight and expertly into a vessel that will bear the weight of a crew and also much cargo, as you see it pull up to the dock to where you stand, and you see there's a crew of about perhaps 7 manning this ship. One of them, the ogre, you were told would be aboard this vessel, and who to speak to if you truly wish to give your services to this merchant crew. A female ogre, standing almost as tall as Dill, begins to unload crates, livestock barrels, along with other individuals, many of them golden-skinned Freyeen, but some, perhaps 2, maybe 3 humans in amidst them.
Can I give a description of... Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
Yes, as you said, I stand 11 inches tall, though I do not stand on the ground, on the earth, or on these docks. I stand on the shoulders of Dill, this 8-foot tall ogre. He's still very young looking, and my bluish grey skin is adorned with nothing but 2 simple pieces of green cloth, surrounding, one covering my waist, the other my breast. Nay is a female sprite, and standing on top of Dill's shoulders, she is able to get a great view of the world that she's unable to on the ground. Dill is adorned in many rings of weaving of grass, which are footholds that Dill uses to climb atop his back when he is too busy to pick her up. There is a large basket of woven grass on his back, and the only other thing he carries is another woven holder of wreaths, and these large bone spears of javelins rather of differing sizes protrude out. Standing on his shoulders, I wonder about the decision to spend all the coin Dill's mercenary work earned him on a hope of a vessel to find my family. Nay's never trusted in coins. She's never been good at maths. Entering trade with her mother as a young she tried to teach me the importance of coin, and part of me feels foolhardy foolish for not taking these seriously. But at the time, they seemed like such a boring, joyless activity. We're passing the time waiting for this ship. Nay plays a game on Dill's shoulder, one they've played many times, pinching him on the cheek and face and shoulders, and then scuttling along to the other side of his shoulders before he could swat her away. They both laugh at this, and she can see the grin of his cheeks from behind his shoulder, or behind his neck. As the ship comes into focus, I just stand behind his neck with both my hands sort of wrapped on behind his ears, each hand being probably no bigger than a pinky fingertip. And I wait to see what has unboarded from this beautiful ship of foreign make.
And as the sum of the cargo is released from this vessel, you see the ogre woman speaking with one of the dock hands that is assisting with the transport here. The same man that you had spoken to make this arrangement. And as you say, put the last of your meager savings towards this endeavor. You see both of them conversing. You're unable to hear what they're speaking about, but it soon becomes apparent as the man you spoke with, another Freyine, points.
Oh, so I've seen a Freyine.
You have.
Okay. As soon as Nay sees as soon as I see a Freyine, I bring my mouth next to Dill's ear and I whisper, "Look!" I whisper, "Look, Dill, one of the golden people. I wonder if they have any bread. I most wish to have some. I haven't had any bread since." And then sort of like sadness like comes across my face as I remember, since Mother died. I was whispering in Moolish.
And with that recollection, that sad recollection, the smile fades from both of your faces. The memory of the fun little game you both played, losing its allure immediately upon that memory. But you see the dockhand point in your direction. The ogre glancing over at you, glaring almost, but it can be so hard to tell sometimes, and approaches you both. And
I feel the tensing of Dill's neck muscles, and comfortably whisper in his ears, "Easy, Dill. These people mean us no harm."
You are the one who wishes to join my crew?
What language did they say
Moolish.
that?
Moolish.
Moolish.
Speaking to Dill, it is not clear that she even has yet recognized your presence, Nay, hiding as you are, whispering behind his ear. She looks to the ogre, as he is indeed the one who made the transaction and is the largest and most easiest target for the eyes to go to. What can you offer. You have paid for this, but you look somewhat strong. I won't be having someone who is on the run, someone who will cost my employers more money. You are running from some trouble.
At that, I sort of walk just a few steps out to the side of his of Dill's head and look down at this ogress, or towards this ogress who's threatening us almost. And I say,
She immediately seeing this little lizard-like blue-skinned creature with little antennas coming out from behind this ogre's head. She sort of is taken aback for a moment. That is not a sight she expected to see.
"You have spent too much time with greedy humans. We have paid you our coin for this trip. I will sing some songs if you wish to cheer. And Dill is very strong, but apart from this, we have nothing more to offer you."
I have no need for songs, but if you will carry crates and hoist barrels and cargo, then I suppose you have indeed paid. Anyway, I suppose it's not really my call. Is this... I hope this is all you have, being just the two of you, because we've no room for anything else. There will be more cargo coming from trade before we set sail to Newport.
I have very, very well. Dill, looks like you've got some lifting to do, my dear friend.
And he frowns slightly, but doesn't show any true sign of disapproval or disappointment, and goes to work quite readily and quite immediately, with no word at all being shared between the two ogres, which is perhaps befuddling to her. But coin was spent, and she was told what's what. So, in short order, there is some new cargo to replace what was offloaded onto the hold. And I say hold. There isn't really a hold. This is not a huge galleon that we might be familiar with from our world, but the cargo is stored beneath the deck, you might call it, in the deepest parts of the ship that dip below the red waters that are Dinkin's body. This ship is filled to capacity in short order with trade goods from the city of trade, as well as it would seem from more exotic locales. You see bolts of fabric, crates of food. There is drink, some wines, and other such condiments, as well as some, as I say, livestock. which once you finish loading onto this vessel, the heavy canvas sail being unfurled once again and pointed in the direction of the wind to take you out down river towards the Western Ocean. And as the crew makes ready to leave once again in the direction it had came after not a great amount of time being spent at port, we must make one final stop at Bale, and then it is off to Newport. I hope you, and she looks in the direction, and she is speaking in Moolish still to the two of you. You two newcomers are ready for the elements. There is no roof over your head here. If we make good time, perhaps it will take us perhaps 9-10 days, maybe a chain, depending on the winds, and if the Thunderbirds see fit to unleash their ire upon us. Hopefully that will not be the case. We have made sacrifice to Fatash and to Leviathan before departing. Let us hope the divinities will smile upon us. And the ship moves.
I am not concerned of the thought of sleeping underneath the open sky, for it is what I've done my whole life, as has Dill. Upon entering the boat, I crawl into the grass basket that is on Dill's back and into my cocoon dream sleep, waking just before dusk.
And as you awaken, emerging from the silken wrappings that keep you safe, keep a barrier between the flesh lands and the dream, allowing you to more deeply enter and attune yourself with the other world that is your true birthplace. You awaken to the purples and reds of the dusk twilight, as
has become habit with our sleeping cycles, Dill finds a comfy spot on the deck of the ship, maybe against a barrel or a railing, and as he sort of leans down against it, I begin to sing him a song, as I always do, singing him to sleep. And standing on his belly, looking into his eyes, and I open my mouth and begin my song. Scent of Dima. And then she looks towards the setting sun. Death of the light. Here where colors collide. This black hole ignites my dream in blue. And Dill's eyes close, and I take comfort in his relaxing breathing as he enters the dreamlands calmly, and sitting on his stomach, which is always rising and falling, I turn and begin my watch while he sleeps. I lay my back against his chest. I'm fairly trustworthy, not very suspicious of the people around me. The Freyans that I've seen calm me. They're much better company than the humorless humans and aggressive ogres that are unlike Dill, my companion. I sit and I watch as the dying light becomes the twin moons of Ahriman.
And as they do so, make your... Well, no. I believe perhaps on the following morning, just after Elsam's light has bathed the sky, moving out the blackness before Ahura Mazda rises over the horizon. You make port again at the city of Baal, where we see a new individual standing, waiting for this vessel as well. We see a Freyne male who is also conversing with a number of other Freynes amidst this city of primarily humans and Ferrum. But Tom, why don't you describe your character?
This Freyne, his skin is quite pale with a faint touch of gold. If you were to look closely, his hair is a silky blonde color and is kept very neatly on top of his head. He wears a burgundy shirt covered by a very sharp black jacket, and emblazoned on the chest of this vest is a F in the shape of an anchor. He also wears an iron khopesh on his belt, but anyone with a keen eye for weapons would see that it hasn't seen any use, and he does not hold it as though he is particularly skilled. It too is also emblazoned with the very same symbol that adorns his vest. On his face he wears very slight, subtle amount of golden makeup over his eyes, in the Freyne tradition, and yeah.
And as this ship arrives in the port, on the docks, you, Landul, are finishing up the final conversations, briefing, if you will, for your assignment to this city to the south, that you have heard much about but have never been to. Well, there is the ship. I trust it shouldn't take much too long. I hope you will be able to do what you did, or do down there what you did for our, well, enterprise, the east, near the Cold Harbor.
Yes.
The temperature might be a bit different.
Yes, I'm most eager to get underway. I look forward to a change in temperature. It was getting rather chilly so close to the center of the world there.
I understand. Have you heard anything about the mistress who heads up our branch down there?
No, I'm afraid I'm not familiar with her personally.
Her name escapes. Is it? Oh, Soulve, of course. That's right. I hear she was a warrior of sorts. In one of our. Well, let's just say she was assigned along the border to the Dark Forest. She, in perhaps another lifetime, I understand, she was wounded. But anyway, no, I don't mean to speak ill of her, even though she is not here. I understand things are going well, though not as well as we might have hoped. It's
Do you know perhaps what is the problem, or shall I? I will discover it when I get there.
and there's two men you were speaking with, and the other one of them sort of shudders and shakes his head. It's you all know just as much as I do what's wrong with that place. It's a darkling city. Can't trust those kinds.
Even darkling cities can present great opportunities for profit.
For them.
Just for everyone, if you are skilled enough.
I suppose that's what you're there to ensure. I have no doubt, even though no one will say it, but I'm sure, well, you can't escape your nature.
Yes. We brain can find it difficult sometimes. But I will overcome any obstacles and see that our interests are successful.
No, I have no doubt you will. I'm sure she'll be able to tell you much more than we will. Well, you'll have to let us know, I suppose. I'm sure she has things all in hand, and no doubt you will keep that trend, if you catch my meaning.
Of course.
Well, in that case, I suppose I will leave you to your voyage.
Thank you.
Safe travels. I'm sure. I don't know the ogre's name, but she has worked for us for many cycles. She's never lost a shipment and never lost crew, and it's a voyage that we travel from fairly often now. So, well, in that case, I look forward to our next meeting. And with that, they both awkwardly sort of depart. The strange individuals that they are, and you are expected by the crew of this vessel. They give you a nod, and you are allowed on the ship without issue. And they you Nay and Dill note there's no cargo that is being offloaded or loaded on. It looks like this Freyine is the only individual that is being taken aboard, or the only thing really that's being taken aboard. And almost as soon as the ship has stopped, it sets sail once again.
Take-
And you say it.
Take great disappointment to see only this Freyine come aboard, as I've not managed to find any bread on this ship. And seeing the city in the distance, remaining hopeful that this delicious substance would come aboard, but alas, that'll be for another day.
Perhaps. Although, who knows? And you, Landul, were briefed on who this crew is going to comprise of. You knew what to expect. But this strange blue creature, you perhaps you may have seen one or two sprites in your time, but never up this closely. And why there's one on this ship sitting on top of an ogre, a sleeping ogre, is strange. But
as I come aboard the ship and notice this strange, very small person for the first time, I recognize it as a sprite, as I have seen one or two before, but never up close, and never thought that I would be spending a sea voyage in close proximity. And I stand on the edge of the ship and I'm eyeing sideways at this sprite, trying to sort of get a better idea of what she looks like and maybe what she's doing here.
Am I to assume that this newly boarded Freyine is much more opulently dressed than the rest of the crew?
You tell us.
Yeah. My clothes are indeed, they're quite fine, especially my vest with the F on it. You can see that I'm very well kept.
Well, I call out in Dazaziz, trying to be as polite as possible. The face of the sun shines brightly in you, one fair child of the light.
Thank you, young sprite. You are a sprite, correct?
Yes, thank you.
So may I ask what it is that you're doing on a sea voyage? I've never heard of a sailing sprite before.
Sorry, Nicholas. Are there any humans on the ship?
Yes, there are two.
Okay. I almost blurt my entire purpose for being here, immediately trusting this Freyine and those surroundings, but I hesitate as I see the humans around, for they are not to be trusted, and I say, just traveling to Newport to see family. Which is
I know. I know. I see. I did not realize that there were sprites living in Newport. I look forward to doing perhaps some business with them if they have any industries running.
Yes. Weavers. We are a family of weavers. And she sort of motions towards the baskets and the wrappings that are on Dill. We could make you some baskets for carrying if trading is your way.
I have a sort of a brief glance at the baskets. Like, are they well made, or are they sort of
No, grass, straw, twigs, stems, vines.
Which is
Just
exactly
very.
what the Freyne build all of their structures and
Yeah.
such upon. So.
But it's sort of a mix match. Like there's no one material used to made one thing. It's like 4 materials, so it's all it doesn't look too pleasing. It looks makeshift. Yeah.
Yes, I have a brief glance at these poorly woven baskets. Ah, yes, perhaps another time.
I sort of breathe a sigh of relief. I breathe a relief, but as I realised what I was getting myself into. Luckily, he didn't take me up on the offer. Yes, hopefully we may travel together sometime.
Yes, this voyage, I was told, would perhaps be almost a chain. So we will surely get to know each other over the coming days.
Yes, this sounds splendid. I am always overly polite and gracious when speaking another language, never wanting to offend. Just as a question, Bright One, do you know of any bread on this ship?
No, I'm sorry, I did not bring any food. I was told that the food would be provided on this voyage. I'm sure they have some, they will offer it, but I don't think bread is very seaworthy. It's my understanding.
And indeed the food on this this vessel is it's certainly not opulent or elaborately prepared. It is food made to last, which is there is actually some like hardtack like material which you might say is sort of bread in the most extremely wide leaps, but it is horrendous and is not pleasing to your palate, and is certainly not pleasing to Dill's. There is no meats aboard this vessel.
I blame the horrendous taste on presumably human chefing and human cooks.
Well, you may indeed be right. But it is all you have. It is enough to sustain you, though not pleasantly so, you might say. And throughout the voyage, as the days and nights pass, Dill's mood grows perhaps steadily sourer with the lack of his preferred foods. Ogres can consume this food. It's just not the most nutritious for them, and certainly tastes horrendous. But it is enough.
If possible, I'd like to start wrapping some thin rope with maybe a metal hook on the end around one of Dill's bone javelins, and he'll quickly. He knows this. Dill, just like the river in the forest, maybe this large expanse of water maybe this bigger water will have bigger fish for you to taste upon. And Like I can't pick up these bone javelins, and they're much too large for me.
You were going to determine if he can fish up some food.
That's while the boat moves.
Yeah, he is able to perhaps acquire some fish from time to time. However, the humans look none too pleased at that. And do you speak Pelganese?
Yes.
They do not care for the sight of an ogre, a child of rage, besmirching the body and bounty of Dingan. Some might say the uncle to humanity, in such a way, without proper and due respect. But they keep their more vocal complaints to themselves, as it is a boat, it is a small area, and even a couple of humans, unarmed as they are, against an ogre who has a bunch of bone javelins, as if an ogre needed weapons of any sort against unarmed humans to make their day unpleasant. They do not broach the issue any further, but you with your keen, observant demeanor, and with your knowledge of the tongue of man, can pick that up. If anyone else speaks Pelganese, Landul, you can sense that growing frustration between them, but it poses no issues. No violence occurs on the long journey. After another day, you reach the mouth of the Red River, where the red waters of Dingan mix with the deep blue of Leviathan, and may you make your way, the ship turning south, to hug the western coast of Katik, of the southern continent, and you see off to your left, for the entirety of this journey. In fact, as the Desert of Ash, even across the river from Bale, the Desert of Ash exists as a empty, black, gray sea in its own right of sandy material. Goes on for as far as the eye can see. Some days you see, if you look out, even though it is a bright and shining day with no cloud spirits in the sky around you, you see a wall of blackness blotting out light from the sun. Some days, coming from the Desert of Ashes, great sandstorms must be raging, which is a intimidating sight to see. A great wall of blackness over the coastline. But after about 10 days, not a full chain, you see, after, as I say, days upon days of looking out in to endless seas on one side of you and endless gray wastes on the other side, with no distinguishing markings to note really where you are. You're not sure how these sailors keep track of where they're going or where they are. As Landul, perhaps you have been on the waves before, but Nay and Dill, you have not, and it is quite an interesting experience, and not necessarily an altogether pleasant one, as you are now well and truly on your way. And for you, Landil, anticipation, opportunity.
I'm eager to make port.
And in due time, you see a strange sight on the coast in the distance. You see color, many colors, vivid, bright colors of many sorts and shades, which appears as a smudge in the distance until, as you approach closer, you see this city, but not a city like Trade, not a city like Nay you are familiar with, and certainly not the golden vegetative cities of the and towns of the Freyene. Their buildings grown of great golden fronds and wreaths, with circular doors that react to one's presence. No, this place is of stone, almost entirely of stone. And as you get closer, you can see with detail and clarity the structures and silhouettes of this port city, of this structure on the edge of the desert. You see buildings and structures made of propped up with great bones, look like from whales or some great sea creatures. Structures that are built upon the shores, which seem to be constructed out of living coral, and the hides of beasts and of a sort you're not familiar with. Great tiered structures built into the rock, which, as I had mentioned before, sort of juts out from beneath the sands here. It's as if approaching this place from the water, as if the sands of the coastline have been brushed back into the endless expanse of the desert to sort of unearth more of this rocky, solid material into which the inhabitants have carved out many homes and structures into. Your reed ship makes its way into the docks. You see along the approach through the waters surrounding the docks to this area, you see poles of bone which are affixed to ribbons and flags of different colors, guiding markers. And you see those of you who are not attending to sailor's duties. Look over the side of the ship in beneath the blue ocean. You see the shapes of buildings, of structures built underneath the waves. Great settlements that are almost as numerous as what you see on the shore and on the land.
Fascinating.
On the go ahead.
I peer curiously, like over the side of the ship. I had never heard of this part of the city. I didn't realize it extended even under the water.
I am just amazed. This journey has opened my eyes in shock to seeing the endless blue ocean. It's a sight I've never seen before, and now approaching the city, there's a knot in my stomach. It is anxiety. It is also longingness to see my family again, but it's also mixed with the fear that I will not find them, or that I will learn that they have passed. This looking below these structures in the water, it truly amazes me as my eyes open. I put my arms around Dill's neck and comfort him. We are almost at our destination, my friend. I pray to Rilixod's butterflies that my family are still alive. I think of my 3 brothers and my father. And then I crawl into the basket on Dill's back and stay out of sight.
And in short order, the ship makes docks. And you see there are many blue-skinned creatures. You, Landul, would recognize as sirens, although this is a species you may have never encountered before. There are many of them, as one might expect, gathering about and attending to duties and jobs and occupations along and within the shore, directing cargo, directing ships to the correct mooring points. And your reed vessel, again, as with trade, the only vessel of its sort that you can see docked here. Cargo is unloaded and directions are barked and orders given. The ogress speaks with one of the dock hands here, a siren female, to ensure that these goods, which have come here at great expense and great distance, are seen to be sent to where they must go. And amidst the din, you are told by the captain to you, Landil, to take these the newcomers. They signed up to be a part of this trading company, so they may as well assist in getting the goods sent to your company's warehouse, or at least a portion of the warehouse to which you've been allocated space. And you are given directions and told your contact will meet you there in a little bit, but business first, of course. You were given brusque commands to make haste to one of the buildings that is constructed along the sands of the shore. This building, a wide, low structure built of looks like some sort of clay or some sort of cement-esque material, bricks, which is sort of looks like the sand has been dug out, so the building is partially underneath the sand, is beneath the ground, perhaps a couple feet beneath the ground of the street. And you are given optalangs and wagons to cart the material, the non-living material, to this warehouse.
As they begin loading the crates and the goods onto the optalangs, I stand nearby, paying close attention, making sure that they're not mishandling any of them, and if any of them look like they're not paying too much attention to their work, I walk up to them and I'd be very careful with those goods. If you damage anything, it comes out of your pay. Don't forget. And we take all the goods to this warehouse and begin placing them in our allocated spot.
Okay. You are load the goods to where they need to be.
Yeah. I'm eager to meet with my contact. I'm quite apprehensive. I've never met them personally, obviously, but I have heard of them from other members within the company who've visited the city before me, and sounds like a very important individual.
And the rest of the crew who assisted you in bringing the goods in here leaves you, as they have other duties to attend. You being someone of importance, and you, Nay, and Dill being
as
quote unquote
Dill obviously would be
on purpose so far.
Yeah, Dill would be one of the people carrying the stuff in,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as I hear the voice of a siren, their sort of beautiful melodic language, I emerge immediately from the basket, wanting to know where the source of the beauty of this sound is, and seeing these sirens talk, it fascinates me, and even as they cease to talk, I sort of standing on Dill's back, just sort of trying to practice their mystical vocal sounds, so just sort of humming on Dill's back.
There's a sort of rhythm to how they talk, like in a similar way to certain languages on our world. Sometimes you can sense a certain melody of the syllables and of the words, the pauses, and the timing of the speech, and it's mesmerizing in its own way, especially to you, one who has a keen ear for song and
And
music.
and it's the notes that they're able to produce that I've never heard before. That those are the ones I'm most interested in, and I practice at trying to reproduce that sound, though I fail miserably. Not being able to reach those high pitches without my voice flailing.
Perhaps something to aspire to. But you three are left alone within this warehouse. One of you waiting for someone who hasn't shown up yet. Hopefully they will. And the other two not sure where to go in this new and boisterous city with such strange new sights, smells, and people. But you Hunrei, hearing individuals, people, the sound of noise and activity, encroaching upon the place you've most recently been making your sort of haven in to bide at least some of the blistering heat of the day. You see the activity that was described, and these three individuals remain. This great red-skinned ogre, this golden-skinned Frayne man, a creature you've never seen before.
Well, I have never seen any of those three species
Right.
at all in my life before, and yeah. So I've been observing them from what meager shadow I can get in among these streets and alleys. And I have no grades in stealth at all, so as I watch sitting on some rocks or along the harbor, maybe some post I'm leaning against, and then I look upon the activity that they seem to be carrying stuff into another of these grottos. What are they doing? And it's very obvious that I am looking at you. And then when the other workers, I think they are, whatever that is, leave, and those three remain, I very obviously, you can very easily see me, and here I can describe the character, about sitting 40 feet away from you, staring at you, and yes, it is staring. You have a giant lizard. The closest description to a real world animal would be, think of an anthropomorphic alligator. Brownish, beige skin, and on the throat you can see some amount of black scales that would grow down into belly scales, but it is wearing clothing, a very grayish brown hide of some other animal. Probably an animal that none of you have ever seen unless you come from the more tropic regions. It's rhinoceros hide. And you can see the handle of a sword on my back sticking out over my shoulder, and another sack over it. In my palms, or claws rather, I am holding a tome of some form, a big brownish leathery one, with my left index claw writing or scratching at it maybe. I look upon the scene that the workers and these three creatures have produced in front of me, trying to understand it, observing it, and very obviously staring at you. And just to top it off, I am about as tall as the ogre.
At first seeing this large lizard, sort of almost recall in shock at a fearsome sight, and but then I ease as I remember a song, and I sort of rub Dill's behind the ear, and I say, speaking in Moolish, remember the song of the snake who ate all of these eggs? Slept for a whole cycle. Maybe this snake has just awoken. We should beware of his hunger. And sort of rubbing the back of Dill's neck.
As I see this fearsome reptile man creature staring at us, I'm taken quite aback and take a step back before I sort of realise what I'm doing, and I call out first in Dazanese, and then when I sort of realise that he probably isn't gonna know that language, I try Thuban. Hello there. Who are you?
I perk up at the usage of the Dracoid tongue. Do you speak it? What would you think a Dracoid would say? Good or
not very good. Like, it's passable. It's like, who are you?
I immediately stand up, and then you do see that I am as tall as the ogre, and move towards you, not rapidly, but definitely. You got my attention. Moving towards you. And when I'm approaching something about 25 feet from you, I say,
You speak the Dracoid tongue. You do.
I know a little bit.
And then I sniff the air as I get closer.
How do you know the Dracoid tongue?
I am a merchant by profession. I have spent many cycles traveling the land, and when you have to deal with many species, you tend to pick up a thing or two. Might I ask what you're doing in our warehouse?
Warehouse.
I gesture around at the building.
This
place
things have a grotto.
It belongs to the company that I work for.
Typhon. I see. I understand.
So, why are you here?
Shade.
Okay. I'm obviously quite confused about this. I'm not sure.
It is quite hot outside.
Now I am standing maybe 15 feet away from you. I observe you all at a closer distance. Then I just point at the one I'm speaking to, the Freen, like with my clawed hand. There's a claw just pointing at you.
What are you?
You mean my species? I am a Freyin. We come from Rogeland, much to the north. Perhaps you've heard of it.
No. What is your lineage?
My lineage. My parents were weavers and masons. Is that? I don't know. Landor is obviously like very confused at these questions. Doesn't understand the Typhon customs. I glance at towards Dill and Naze to see if they sort of understand anything more than me.
No.
I've been listening intently, noting the large Surash's approach, and speaking from atop Dill's shoulder, so I'm at your eye level. From which great lizard do you descend from? And I'm looking up and down at that rhinoceros hide you so just vividly described before, and my eyes are filled with amazement, never having known an animal in the forest where I live so large and with such thick hide. And I immediately start thinking of your prowess as a hunter and a survivalist. But I don't let this sort of fear translate to my body actions, as I'm always thinking of Dill, knowing that he can't understand any tongue other than Moolish. I'm always comfortably like rubbing him to soothe him, make sure he knows that the situation is safe.
And then when you start speaking, you take my attention off from the free, and I am pointing my left index claw at. And then sniff the air around you.
You smell dracoid. I descend from Thaiga, Mother Thaiga. You? No, you.
Also, and then I point again at the Freein.
You are not dracoid. You are of other lineage.
And then pointing at the ogre, yet another species I've never ever seen before.
You. I know not of you. Any of you.
And I whisper to Dill in Moolish. He says he is pleased to meet you.
Maybe, probably. It's hard to read my alligator face.
Turning to, I was speaking once more. Say, you seem as lost in this place as I, Master Snake.
Taken aback by what you say.
Snake. I am no snake. Snake slither and off.
Master Lizard, apologies. It is not.
You are to speak and address me, you will know my name.
Very well then, I'm interested to hear it.
And you will immediately recognize, at least the sprite Neath will know that is not a name, that's a sentence in Thuban. And it says, I left the home to search for the moon's grace.
So you are a seeker then? You seek the grace of the moons, and what is your name?
I look at you like
I just told you.
And that's perhaps something that the non-native Thuban speaker would probably not pick up on.
That's the most curious name. Indeed.
I turn to the Freyin, not understanding. What name? He has told us his profession, surely.
I think
his quest.
That whole sentence is his name. My Thuban is not too good, but maybe. So what brings you to this fascinating city, Master? I sort of I'm not sure how to address him exactly. So I'll try that one. Master Reptile.
Again, I seem puzzled by the way you address me. I have very clearly said my name.
I am here for knowledges, things to improve and make perfect myself. And
I say, taking off my backpack from my shoulder and picking up something that, if you have good noses, good sense of perception, you can immediately smell something meaty, something that's vaguely start to decay, and then I pick up a cat, an alley cat, and
food.
and put it in my mouth and almost eat it whole. You can hear me crunch the bones and the marrow and the intestine in my mouth.
I frown and sort of slightly disgusted by this. As a Freyuna don't eat any meat, but I understand that each culture is different. So I try my best to put on like an understanding face, but I'm quite appalled.
And you feel, Nay, at the sight of meat being pulled out of Hunrei's leather satchel and the satisfying sounds, at least to him, of teeth crunching down upon raw flesh that he has not eaten in a very long time, since perhaps even a couple of days before you began your journey. There were a couple of fish, perhaps, but that's no real comparison to what he would prefer to have, which you know, and you is something very much like what the Sirush has just chomped down upon, and as the Sirush explains in Thuban, food. Dill also sort of takes a step forward as well and replies in Moolish, food, just with great intensity. As
my attention is obviously then go towards the ogre as it says something in the mountain speak. Not a language I understand, but it's probably very loud and very.
Oh yeah, it sounds almost as if it sounds angry, even if it's not. It sounds that way. The intonation and the inflection of the word, just one word being spoken.
Whereupon I immediately, because that feels a bit threatening, at least as it is being said, where I drop the bag onto the floor. You can easily hear that there's more things in it, probably a few more dead cats, probably. And then I look at him and bare my teeth, still bits of fur and bone in my mouth, and you can see that the teeth are wickedly serrated and very unpleasant looking.
Easy there, Dill. He is much like the snakes from the stories. He is very hungry. Do not fear not. We will find some food of our own. Maybe I will ask him where we can find some. And I switch to Thuban and say, you have no fears from us. And then I try to say your name, but I stuff it up, and I say Moon Hunter of the Lost Tribe, and not remembering the exact sentence. Dill is very hungry. Would you help us in finding some food in this strange place?
Mm. I start to look a bit more relaxed, close my mouth and chew more so I can swallow. And then I observe all of you for another 2 seconds. And say,
Yes, I will trade with you.
whereupon I pick up the bag and hold it in front of the big red one. Takes out 2 more, so the last pieces of meat I have in the bag, 2 more dead cats and probably a rat.
And he looks for the briefest of moments with some uncertainty towards your direction, but hunger winning out, immediately snatches up a big meaty ogre handful of the fleshy bounty that you've offered him, and nay, while you are aware of Dill's dietary preferences, it's not something you're typically present for, not something you enjoy. But as he has not eaten in some time, unceremoniously and with great speed and need, he just stuffs this dead cat or portion of dead or remaining.
When he grabs them so rapidly from my claw, I let them go and let the big red thing feast upon this place that I fairly easily hunted. There are lots of cats in these cities.
Yeah, much to your delight.
Much to my delight. And then I look upon the thing on his shoulder, who I now think is its commander, its master. How, I have no idea, because it's puny, very, very puny. And
What will you give me in trade?
Just before I jump off Dill as he's feasting, and I'm just like walking around the room, looking at these trade goods that have for the first time sort of been pulled out. Just curiously, I'm not taking anything or anything. I'm just looking around, standing on top of crates and just looking around and such.
They are all sealed or sealed up.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to
I'm
determine what
just
they
getting away from Dill, I guess.
Oh.
Wait, please.
are able to do so.
Yeah. Cool.
Huh. Yeah, and most this structure is perhaps at the moment about filled perhaps a third of its capacity at the moment. There is still much space that is unused, whether things have just been moved out or perhaps this is a new building, you don't know. But there's still a lot of space in this place. And the crates and barrels, some of them have the markings of this Freyne company, Landil, to which you are a member, and which now 2 of you also are now a part of.
I'm watching this exchange, and I'm sort of wondering in the back of my mind where my contact is, and how this large snake man managed to get into this supposedly secured warehouse. I'm concerned about our security, but I don't say anything. I want to perhaps insult him accidentally.
Well, except for that one outburst when the ogres made grabs and spoke angrily, you haven't seen me very aggressive at all. Mostly just weird and alien and intimidating by my size and natural, well, weaponry in claws and fang, but I haven't made any aggressive moves towards you. Your character interprets that as you wish.
After a few minutes of this and determining that he's not out to kill anyone or anything dastardly like that, as far as I can tell.
Full for now.
Appreciating his rather impressive threat that he sort of looks to pose, I sort of venture to take a step closer and I have a business proposition for you, if you would hear it.
I will hear. I am here in Newport.
I say as I think that is the correct name of this edifice of stone and corridors.
I am here to learn and add to me.
I expect I will be spending some time here over the next coming at least a while, and I've found that in business it's always helpful to have some security, if you will. Would you be perhaps interested?
I have killed those who were to take the things from.
I try to find the word because I don't think there is really employer in Thuban except for those dialects that the Typhon speaks.
Owner of things have traded with me so that I would kill those who wanted their things that they own. This I have done.
I sort of think about that sort of processing it just because I'm not very familiar with it.
It's a very convoluted way of me saying I've got that stuff before. But I say it really convolutedly.
It takes me a while to sort of go through all the steps and realize that is what you're saying. And I'm like, excellent. Yes, I've heard that this city can be quite dangerous, and I think having someone of your stature will be of great use, particularly if we run into if I were to encounter any of these ruffians.
And then I slightly pull at a necklace that was inside this rhinoceros hide armor, and out comes a long string of some form of rope or sinew, and on it you see many varieties of bones from you don't really want to know. This, and I'd say, and I pull on one of the bones, perhaps a clavicle or piece of a clavicle bone.
This was from another Typhon who wanted the things owned by the one I killed for. This,
and I pick another one,
is from despicable Jan who tried to eat me. I ate it first.
And I go through about 20 of the various bones around my neck from different body parts of different things I have killed who wanted to do me ill or just fled from me, and I was hungry.
I'm sort of quite taken back by this. like slightly second guessing my decision to perhaps hire him as security, but then also sort of quite pleased in myself that he seems very capable if he's killed this many beasts.
You will also notice if you have perception or artist grades that all of the bones on this necklace are carved and painted with various colors of green, black, brown, red, some pieces of yellow or silver, maybe even some gold, perhaps. Not actual gold, but the color of gold that I have painted in various markings on them. And, well, they're all in Thuban, so singular phrases like this one was killed for this one I found here, this one I met here. But I have used artistry, scrimshaw, that is, to decorate them.
As I see the decorations, I appreciate the quality of them. I've seen my share of goods, and these they do seem quite well done. Like they're better than just your average child's carving or painting. I'm quietly impressed, but I don't understand any of the sentences. I can't read Thuban. I can only speak it. But
you probably don't want to get close enough to actually read them.
Yeah. The golden ones and the silver ones to a lesser extent, especially, they catch my eye. But yeah, I haven't to venture close enough to get a closer inspection.
I am now standing next to Huanre as very, I guess, subtly moving about the place just naturally because of my size and also the quietness in which I walk. Maybe surprised that I stand next to you and speaking, trying to change the way I speak in this tongue so that we may understand each other. I say, these ones have nothing to give you. But we have the gift of our company. We will travel with you and help you guard the one who owns these goods. Speaking very, very slowly, and this offer, it's not much of an offer because I was considering doing this anyway with this fraying, but having nothing else to give, I feel a little bit embarrassed after so kindly handed Dill the last of your meats. So I feel this is all I can offer. And now that I'm so close, I will begin to read these interesting words upon your scaly flesh. So I can read. I can read Thuban.
They're on his necklace. The words.
Oh, it's around your necklace. Sorry, I thought you said scales. I definitely probably can't see up that high. Maybe when I'm next to Top Dill's shoulders.
My shoulders and around my neck. Though you can probably see the book I am holding in my right hand, the big leathery tome with, well, there's no paper in it, and it's probably taller than you need. And there's no paper in it because all the pages are made of skin of things. And there is one symbol on the front of the book, some black carving that you probably don't understand unless you can read Arimanian.
Does anyone have knowledge? Any theology?
I have 2.
Yeah, I have one. I have one, but as I was sort of homeschooled in a sense, there's my parents would speak nothing of the elder creator of darkness, so I'm not even gonna ask to make a roll.
I don't think I would know it either.
Perhaps it will involve less explanation to not know.
Well, I have said that my name is the one who seeks the moons, as the Freyin, or as Ni put it, and the moons are Harryman.
This is true.
If that sends red flags to the Freyin, it's up to him to interpret it.
Yeah, I wasn't my character. You know, when he heard that name as a sentence here, he didn't really think that far into it. He was still sort of trying to grasp that even was a name in the first place, let alone what it might imply. Yeah.
But as you finish gazing at the markings and trophies of this tall Sarush and Hunrei, as you get to the final of your however many
20,
however long your necklace is, your
20 various bones, one from each victim or meal. It's the same word for me.
right as
While they are finely carved and such, it's not something that I would get a good price on at a market unless, I don't know, they want things of bone. It's a very barbaric piece of jewelry.
it shows skill, but not perhaps in the medium that is decent individuals typically trade in. But then again, you don't need to be decent to trade.
The only thing of metal that I'm wearing is the big cannibal sword on my shoulder. Then it sticks up from my left shoulder, so that I can grab it with my left hand or claw.
As you finish up and sort of in your strange
This one, it was from the great jungles when the Zavon tried to fell me.
And as I am mid-sentence, the scene is taken over by the flame tender to do what you wish.
you are about to tell how you brought an end to this final owner of whatever piece of bone this is, perhaps a piece of jaw, or a cracked part of a femur, or a finger bone from some individual who thought they could get the better of you, or the one you served, and you accept this trade, if you will, this business venture in Landul's phrasing. The doors to this place, one of the doors to this storage area that you are in is opened. Walking two Freyin individuals, a man and a woman. The man holding a sort of a collection of parchments, which he seems to be looking at with some intensity, and the other is a tall woman. Well, tall for a Freyne, not nearly as tall as an ogre or a Sirush, but who looks very, very different than the opulently dressed merchant in your midst, with his fitted clothes designed to show his station and his standing and his success in trade and mercantilism. Rather, this woman, she is dressed in sort of in tightly sort of fitted, not like tailored, but like a tightly bound like linen pants, which are stuffed into some high boots that look far more functional than fashionable, and a breezy, gauzy sort of shirt. But on top of that is looks like almost like a garment similar, though not as bulky as what you would imagine a Greek or perhaps a Roman sort of a the word is escaping me. I don't want to say toga because that's not the correct word, but there is a sort of a robe-like garment that is draped atop the her form, which is already wearing a shirt and pants, and her she is a the name escapes me. She has golden skin, similar to you, Landul, not the pure embodiment of gold of someone who is seen to be blessed by the noonday sun, but a woman born in the hours before or after, not a dawn touched for sure. Such a travesty would not be allowed, of course. And at her side is a scabbard for a khopesh. Its material you are unable to determine at the moment, and she has sort of pulled back hair that comes down just below her shoulders, a sort of pale golden coloration to it, a gold that whether it's it might be her natural shade of her hair, but looks as if the golden shade has itself been bleached in this unrelenting sun, the heat, which even in the shade of this place, this structure that is somewhat built beneath or dug out beneath a couple feet of the sands, you can still feel, especially as the door is now opened. And she walks in and addresses Landil. Apologies for my delay. Not need to take such time. And then she looks at the rest of you, this odd, motley assortment of different heights and colorations, species. The tall ogre and Sirush and tiny sprite there amidst you, none of whom she recognizes as being anyone she was expecting.
Since you've described her in such detail with those clothing, way more colors and markings and such that I have seen on any of these individuals here, I immediately noticed that, whereupon I turned to Landul. I don't think you're you had introduced your name to me, I think.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah. So I turned to Landul and just, though in Thuban,
Is she the one who owns?
You would recognize by appearance, and by silly me, I forgot the most. If you'll give me one extra moment, the most perhaps obvious distinguishing feature about her is that her left arm, I don't know how I missed this, is missing just below just below the elbow, like right about here. Looks as though some wound of something. You are not sure, but you would know her as being Sulve, the one you are waiting for.
As she sort of comes in and approaches, I sort of pat some imaginary like dust off my shoulder and sort of pat my hair slightly, trying to sort of be presentable. And it's like, oh, my lady, and I sort of dip my head slightly. I've only just arrived. We did not wait long. These are my and I sort of pause for a second. Associates. Gesture at the ogre and the giant reptile. I've only recently met them, but I believe they could come quite in handy for the company. Yeah.
Certainly keep interesting company. And she gives each of you a curt sort of nod and acknowledgement.
The name's Nay. Pleased to meet yet another child of beauty and light. And I sort of like curtsy.
And she is speaking in Dazazes
I said that.
I have no clue what they're talking in a language also that I have never ever heard.
This language is far more. It's almost the antithesis of the growling, anger-filled. Even though you only heard a brief snippet of the tongue of Mool, it seems to be like the total opposite. As you feel a sort of the words themselves sound soothing. In their intonation, but you're not sure what of course they are. Again, I apologize for the delay.
No, it's quite alright. We didn't wait long. I'm sort of still bowing my head slightly. Good.
I trust the journey was uneventful.
Oh yes, quite pleasant.
Good. Well, are these your assistants in a way?
These two, I gesture at Dill and Nay. These two were signed on in trade before I arrived here. And this one, I gesture at this one, I've only just met, but I've already see great potential.
And she looks at each of you, and noting that the confused look upon the Sarusha's face. I'm afraid I have not had the time, despite my stay here, to learn the Sarushi tongue. I assume you must know it if you are to have conversed with him.
I have picked up a small understanding in my travels.
Good, that will serve you well here. There are many who speak it, and there are many of his kind that make this city their home. But if you will, let's get out of this warehouse. I'll take you to the establishment.
Of course, my lady.
And she turns on her heels and moves out, expecting you all to follow.
I turn to Nee, who I have heard talk Thuban, and I repeat the question.
Is that the one who owns?
Yes, I believe so. Our Freyine friend here seems to serve her. Tell me, Hoonray, if I may call you that.
Look at it like, that's half my name.
But
I am Hunarek Sumelara. That is who I am.
okay, very well then, Hoonray Zumera. You said you are on a quest for your own self-perfection.
Yes.
I seek to perfect my voice. I am a singer, you see. Perhaps...
With the moment you say that you are a singer, you see my eyes go a bit wider and the nostril lids on my nose flare a bit.
You sing.
And I look, and my face comes a bit closer, and you're unaware, unless you have grades of insight as to why this proclamation excites me or angers me.
I have 4 grades in insight.
Okay. Well, unless our flame tender wants you to make a roll.
No, yeah. I'm happy for you to just say whether or not I understand.
I seem interested in you, way more interested than previously. Well,
So you can sing. You can make melody of your throat and voice.
Yes, it's I'm no great singer yet, not like my mother, or these beautiful creatures that reside by the water here. I feel I may have I've arrived at the right place in this regard. But
This
back to
you
your
will
question.
trade. This you will trade with me. You will trade voice and melody for meat, cats, and the children of Mistress of Tiani.
This immediately. This sounds like the most beneficial agreement ever. Following in the footsteps of my mother, who made what much money my family made was made off the back of her singing in the taverns and trade. So it is most agreeable. Oh, that's it. That is most agreeable. Kind one. I would love to sing you some songs. Are there any songs of your people that you have preference for?
No, not of the horn.
Well, tell me your interests, and I will write you one myself.
and I look at you like, no, you don't understand. It's not that. I assume as we are walking behind this Freyine, and I
Yes.
start to speak very enthusiastically in Thuban to this very tiny person on the ogre's shoulder.
No, it was the black disc, the spirit, the demon in the rolling temple. It sang most hauntingly, most melodiously, most beautifully. The voice, the chord I have tried to replicate it, of the melodist. I cannot. You will teach me song, and I will kill for you. It is part of my perfection.
You wish to hear a song you heard in a black temple, sung by a demon? That sounds like no song worth singing. That sounds horrible.
The tongue of unflesh spoke to me in the rolling temple. There I learned language of freedom, the language of the king of freedom, the language of perfect song.
Those words greatly interest me. Freedom and perfection. I would love for you to teach me this tongue. For if I am to sing this song to you, I will need to know the language.
Yes.
Do you have any books or I am a keen reader and listener.
I take my claw back into my backpack and hold you the tome that I was scratching on the pages of before, with the big black symbol on the cover.
You quickly realize there is no way I'll be able to carry or hold that book. Just turning a page would be a strenuous effort. Okay, so I'm looking upon this book. Is it in Thuban, the words on it, or are the words of?
The word on the cover is Armanian, so that you can't read, because if I remember correctly, you didn't understand that language. But then I open it and just go through a few pages, and it varies from writing in this almost obscene-looking language. Think all of the words are written in a heavy, deep black ink, with the scratches of my claws because I don't use a quill. So some light, some deep, some puncturing the page even, with this black tarry color on the pages. And on some pages there are sketches, pictures of landscapes, although painted in this black ink, as well as many other colors: greens, reds, blues, yellows, some gold, some silver, of various places, landscapes. One of them of a great ziggurat, another one of the desert, another one of the ocean, Leviathan, one of a ship I saw in the harbor, another one of some tall cat creature. Think of a cat in an alleyway, but then you make it stand on 2 feet and look really ferociously, a tiger standing on 2 legs. So it shifts very much in just writing in this tongue and pictures.
Well, this is all quite confusing, but I'm very interested. So, this is very, very nice indeed. It's quite beautiful. Do you do this work yourself?
Yes, it is part of my perfection of my way of adding to me, of making me moi.
You adding you more. My concept of mass is poor at best. Adding, but still, I think you are referring to making another copy of yourself, or you know, you wish to have a child of your blood. Not through this book, surely.
I look at Lu like you completely misunderstood everything I just said. If you can even read that look on this alligator man.
There is much barrier in this language. I see. My parents taught me what they could, but I've lived my whole life in a small forest by the city of trade, and you seem to know this language far greater than one ever could have instructed me.
Just as a note to you, the Serusians are very brutal people, so you probably know more Thuban words than I do. A lot more, probably.
But I'm very polite. I always apologize, even if I don't think I'm at fault. I will gladly learn these words under your tutelage, and I will make it my promise to you to learn this song that so invigorated your quest for perfection. In it, I do this not only as a favor to you, but also as an interest of my own. If I could ask something in return, I would be most grateful.
Yes, that is trade, how it works.
Like now, I think I have to explain what trade is to you, and my version
The
of
student
trade
has
will
become
be
the master.
way dumber than yours.
I hesitate ever so slightly before revealing my purpose, but trusting both the Freyin and his Freyin master, obviously knowing Dill already knows
Actually,
it.
while this is going on, the two Freyans are conversing with each other, which I'll get to after your scene, and likely are completely oblivious, especially as Londil has had trouble with some of the Serush's words in the past is caught up with.
Hey, the two friends are completely oblivious that this big lizard person is talking about learning and teaching the language of the Shadow King to people behind them.
Is that what I was away for? Did I miss something
which I'm most interested in.
of note at the?
The corruption begins.
I don't even know that I'm doing it.
No.
So
I missed it, so we will say that
they missed
he
it.
was also there.
So I'll speak sort of freely and openly, unless I can see any humans around, in which case I'll usher you a little bit closer and whisper.
You do not see any humans. Instead of you see this city is populated entirely, from what you've seen so far, by creatures you've never seen before. You see other species that are like Hunrei, tall lizard-like creatures, gator-like, or perhaps like a Komodo dragon on two legs. You see a great many creatures that look in shape perhaps somewhat similar to the Freyine with slightly pointed ears, less so than the Freyine, but where their skin is as of gold, this species, these Kalfar, the skin is of various shades of pinks and purples, more color variation than you've seen in the admittedly small amount of Freyine you've witnessed. Likewise with shades of purple hair as well, which you can see peeking out from below. It seems as though you would perhaps recognize as of note that many of these Kalfar are differently dressed than most of the other denizens of this place, and are dressed in a far more ostentatious manner even than your Freyine companion, the merchant, is dressed in. But yeah, there. I wandered a bit, but
No, that's great.
there are no humans.
Yeah, okay. So in that case, yeah, there's a slight hesitation, but I decide that it's sort of a now and never moment. Well, my purpose for being here, Hunre Zumilra, is to find my family, vile human slavers. They, and sort of like quivers a bit, killed my mother and took the rest, my 3 brothers and my father, in chains. Dil here, my brother, was also with me, and we have dogged their steps ever since, and learned in the city that they were being brought to this place known as Lucerno. In this city, maybe most likely a slaving trade pit. I would ask that you help me.
Cutting you off mid-sentence when you start talking about slavers and slavery. You see my nostrils flare up, I bare my teeth. Slavers. You are hunted by slavers.
They not hunted, no. They know not of my existence.
They took
It is
your tribe.
Yeah. Yes, tribe. My very, very small tribe. I seek them, but I fear that these vile humans in their chains will maybe enslave Dil and myself. Though maybe instead you could add some bones to that necklace of yours.
I will add the bones of all slavers to my neck.
I'm just...
Who follows the mistress of tyranny, she.
And probably both the Freeans can notice that the Sirouche behind them becomes a lot more impassioned, a lot more aggravated at something. Something is making him take a lot more aggressive posture, like, I don't know, someone just insulted him grievously and is looking to spill some blood or eat someone. Then I look at the sprite.
Do you know their scent?
Landur.
Can I say what I'm doing? So I turn and smile at I smile at these Freyans who are taken back. This is a big smile. Like, my initial thought when I saw this savage-looking Sirish was one of fear and a little bit of horror at his appetite, but he just sounds like a kindred spirit. He hates slavers. He loves music. He's interested in teaching me a language. Just this is the greatest since before my family was taken. This is the greatest day ever. Meeting this great smile. And as they look, I can sort of see the worry on his face, and I smile and sort of obliviously I say in Dazazee, Dazazea shines upon this union. Surely we have met the most favorable companion.
And in
and I sort of
complete,
smile, nodding, rubbing Dill's neck as well.
complete thematic mood shift from the strange interaction. Hearing the enraging, the growing rage of this Sarouche in the middle of the street out here, declaring a death and dismemberment to slavers in a city that is populated heavy with slavers. Landul, get a handle on your companion here. I'm not sure what he's raging about. I do not speak his tongue, but this city is savage compared to Rodaland, but is not without its authorities. I don't want...
Of course, my lady. And I turn around and looking at Hunre Zumilra, I say in sort of feathers, is something the matter?
Nay, has been plagued by the demons, the demoness of Re the Nahwali. She has been plagued by them, and I will hunt them and wear their 5 feet teeth on my back and on my neck. I will take their pellets and make me a new armor.
Yeah, I sort of look at Nay, sort of questioningly, like, what's he going on about? What's he talking about?
And there are people moving away, and like those in earshot of this scene are
Well, obviously they're moving away. 7 to 2 feet tall lizard man with big claws and serrated teeth,
right,
and a giant sword on his back. He's just declaring bloody murder on things and spirits.
For a moment, I think about jumping from Dill's shoulders onto Huanra's and hugging his face and kissing his cheek, but I do not wish to disturb Dill, though this what I consider a noble pledge to aid me in my cause to free my family. There's beaming gratitude towards you in this smile, and I say in Dazazea's, he will not harm us, light blessed. He is going to help me. We have become fast friends in this. And I'm looking around at this dry, harsh place. And switch back to Thuban. I said, because I realize I still haven't acknowledged your pledge, and I say, you truly are the kindest one I've met outside Dill and my family. You have my undying appreciation. Thank you. If there is a word for thank you in Thuban.
I do not recognize the word kind at all. That doesn't exist among the Sarouche people.
that's not a word.
But I understand that you appreciate me immensely, and that I enjoy and acknowledge, and I kind of calm down a little bit as I lean in closer, perhaps maybe antagonizing the ogre whose shoulder you're sitting on.
Do you know their scent? The scent of the slavers. Have you their colors, their path?
I know the smell of what many humans clumped together taste like. They are very offensive to your nostrils. They're excrements.
And I
Fill
start
the streets and
to
the
smell
airways.
around immediately for the most aggravating smell I can find, and then looking in that direction.
Do not haste. Haste not, friend. Humans, although much weaker than you, they are numerous, and they will not hesitate to cast shackles of iron upon you, which I would pain to see.
Not. Shackles will not touch me. The mistress of slavery have no hold over me.
Man, I'm just starting to think like this guy is just badass. Just not like I know. Like, to me, Dill and ogres were just always like very intimidating their size, but seeing this guy, like, wow, is there anything he can't do? So, even though my judgment says that he is overconfident, I just think maybe his confidence is based purely on his ability. Like, he does have that necklace of the bones of the enemies he's defeated, and that thick rhinoceros hide. He must have felled the largest beast ever to wear that. So I sort of defer to his boast and know that I have no strength, but Dill and I will love to aid you as you seek to free my family, and I do yearn to learn the words of that book, that beautiful book you have. But
the words of the king of freedom.
but
We will fell the traitorous child of slavery.
yes, but noticing.
Fire.
Noticing the sort of discontent amongst the Freyans, I say, but we must speak of this later. I fear we are holding their business.
Randall, I appreciate your skill and experience, but you are still a newcomer in this southern land. I do not know where you met this Surush, but they are in many ways far more brutal and savage than even the ogres are. And they do not take a kindness to the peace of Dazazea as some of the ogres perhaps might. I suggest if you are going to have this one accompany you in your business, you get a handle on him. I do not know what he is hissing about, but it's at a point like looking around to the mood of like the street has like changed, like like you can feel when like something is like about to go down or has gone down. Like there's a heaviness to the air now after this outburst, and while Solveig doesn't know Thuban, a lot of other people in this city do. And you don't even need to speak the language to be freaked out by the tone and the brutal menace of this an angry Surush driven to rage at the mention of slavers.
Yes, my lady. I apologize for his his behavior. I'm not quite sure what has him, why he's gotten quite so riled up, but I think that he shouldn't, he doesn't seem to want to be intent on harming anyone just yet. I say that very, very skeptically, sort of like more hopefully than anything.
Well, figure out what it is and make sure if you're going to work effectively, make sure you have people you can work with.
I'm sure that we will be able to work it out.
Don't forget, I don't know how much you are aware of this city. And she begins walking again. You guys start moving down the streets towards your destination. This is not Roderland. This isn't even the kingdom of Thru or Vigish lands. There are more of us even in those places than there are here. At least. And she pauses for a second as if in thought. At least in the city. It has been an uphill battle trying to wrestle control of any sort of business opportunities or trade ventures from the... And she's keeping the tranquility of Dazazea, but she grits her teeth as if she's going to say something and perhaps thinks better of it. I'll tell you more once we arrive, but suffice it to say that we are outnumbered in this place. Look around you. There are not many familiar species that I doubt even you in your travels will have seen in Ibith Nul.
As she says this, I look around and she's quite right. I don't really recognize many species, but at the sight of the many Kalpa that are walking around, I frown slightly, like, you know, I'm a bit like annoyed at the Kalpa. I'm not one of them at all, but I try to stay true to Dazaye's teachings and maintain my calm. But
and she picks up on your feelings as she no doubt has very similar thoughts. I know. Infuriating. Not a day... It doesn't get easier, no matter how many days go by. It's an absolute travesty. But that's part of what we're here for. Not all of it, but it makes what we're doing here all the more important. A major trade hub in the hands of these
we can't afford
darkling.
to have a presence in a place like this. Someone must represent the Freyan interests.
Well, hopefully that's something you'll help me and help us in expanding. As I say, it's been difficult, but...
I look forward to helping in whatever way I can, my lady.
And she leads you up. The streets here are... they're not paved like a city we might think of elsewhere. They're instead stones or deep sort of tiles that are ground into or inserted into packed ash that makes up this desert, and sort of winds through and amidst the rocky outcroppings of this of Newport, and she takes you up the coast before turning towards the interior of the city. You see in the distance out far beyond the piers of the docks a massive structure of very ostentatious sort of design, sort of a stylized ziggurat almost of stone and worked coral and other material. You were taken up through dwellings and establishments built into the rocks, sort of carved, almost like if you've seen pictures of Petra in our world, there are some similarities in some of the I'm going to call them buildings, even though many of them are not freestanding structures, but carved right into and honeycombed through these stone places, and in time you're taken to what you, Londil, will recognize as your company's place of business in this city, as hanging above the entryway is a sign, a banner of sorts, of heavy canvas, painted in golden hues with the insignia and symbol and name of your trading company. But whereas your home, both the home office, you might say, of your employers, and the homes of all Frains are buildings built of living material, of the golden fronds and reeds that are also used to make the boat that you came here on. This is a place where nothing grows here. While there are many colors, a lot of the stonework or the roofs of flat-topped buildings that are built of a sort of cement or mud brick design are painted vividly in various colorful designs, as if to sort of spit in the face of the black darkness of the desert beyond, to proclaim this city's presence here to whoever might see it. It's still hard stone, unyielding, harsh. Nothing like the open plains of Rodaland. It's exotic, and in perhaps some ways, even to your sensibilities, beautiful. But there's a harshness that to the very architecture and design of this place that is inescapable. And your establishment the entry is built of stone outwards from a large actual stone outcropping built of the doorway and sort of atrium is constructed of a sort of cement blocks. And it looks like a gray material. It looks like some sort of cement that's been created, perhaps from the very sands and ash that make up this desert, into something usable, something useful. But you were taken into this place, which moves into the stone itself, and is like a honeycomb-esque sort of structure with stairs and hallways and corridors at odd sort of angles, at least to your experience. Not, uncomfortable or something that's. I mean, the way these structures were carved, they were clearly carved with skill and with, humanoid use in mind. These are not like animal caves that have been converted to being used. It's just very different and very jarring to your previous experience as a Freyine. But she leads you all up. There is a level above the street level, which houses is sort of like a gathering room almost. There is a large table, perhaps big enough to seat maybe 6 or 8 people. You are let in here, and water is given, and there are some, thankfully, some good, honest, flowers and fruits to eat. None of this dried hardtack and dehydrated plant material to consume upon. Good, honest, Freyine food here. Finally.
Eyes also light up at the thing.
I look visibly like much more pleased when I see the food, having had to eat sailing food for the past week and a bit.
Yes.
And as we enter this large building complex built into the side of these rocky outcrops, I look around and mentioning to the Freyine woman walking in front of me, this certainly is grand, but you can see that I say that looking for something nice to say about it. It's quite it seems cold to me compared, like, obviously not temperature wise, but cold into, like, there's no life, there's no flowers, no plants. It's all hard stone. It seems very not lifeless, but not as bright and colourful, even though it is bright and colourful. It doesn't seem that way to me compared to home.
And Solveig stands sort of like with her arms sort of like leaning on the table, like almost like a tired sort of look, even though she hasn't, like, you haven't seen her exert herself or do anything, but she sort of like nods her head. This city, this Newport, was I've been able to determine more of the history of this place in the 3 cycles I've been here. This was once a small community of sirens. This was a siren settlement, though nothing or very little was built upon the surface. It wasn't until the Kalfar came some many cycles ago with the intent on, what's the word? Tightening, I suppose, their trade interests, their desire to trade their goods of the underworld with the siren goods of the undersea. It was they who put chisel to these stone outcroppings, or at least their slaves, although I've heard they don't consider their slaves to be actual slaves. Some Kalfar silver-tongued lies, I'm sure. Something to help them sleep better at night.
She may look a little upset.
Say again?
I was going to say she may look a little upset because even though Nay is always supposed to be polite, she has no concept of, I have no concept of table manners, and so upon immediately seeing this banquet of fruit, I sort of tug at Dill's ear, and he lowers me down to the table, which I'm now standing upon, and I with both my hands clasp a bunch of grapes and sort of over my shoulder, and then Dill pulls me back up, and I just sort of sit atop Dill's shoulder, getting these grapes which are almost the size of half my face, and just sucking the juices from them. That's all I do.
Yeah, when we do this, take a cup of water and perhaps one of the fruits. Sort of politely begin to take. I take a small knife and just kind of carve little chunks out. Eat it politely.
Fruits are exotic. They are not of things that grow typically, even in Rodaland, which is the breadbasket of many places in Ipith Newell.
I take, if there's any I recognize, I'll take one of them. Otherwise, I take one of these strange fruits and sort of tentatively sort of cut it in half, sort of see what's on the inside, have a bit of a taste, see if it's to my liking. I assume that they're all right if they're in the.
Are you taking a newer something you're not familiar with?
Yeah.
And it is slightly tangy. You get a hint of sweetness at the when you first put it in your mouth, and then almost immediately after it's followed by a sour sort of tangy taste which lingers upon your tongue, and the inside of this fruit, which is ovoid in shape and has a sort of fuzz atop it, almost like a kiwi on in our world. Has fleshy, juicy sort of interior to it that is the color of perhaps peaches. Not the same consistency by any means, but just the coloration of the interior. And whether you like that or not, I suppose, is up to your personal preference, but it tastes as such.
As I tasted, it's not exactly what I would call it's not a preference. It's not. I don't hate it, but compared to the food that I have been eating the last several days, it's better. It's a lot better than that. So I take a bite.
World's better.
I just look at this table with bowls of fruits and vegetables and spices and things, and weird. And then I see those I am walking with eating them. I go forward to one of them. I pick a fruit or a berry or whatever that has the most garishly striking color, and that's I don't know what that would be in this pile, but the one that has the most color or the most striking color at the very least.
There's a fruit in the bowl that is about the size and shape of a mango on our world, but the exterior of the fruit has skin. I'm gonna use a lot of real world comparisons. I apologize.
Sure,
Um,
no problem. Yep. Keep
a
going.
Any
skin
real world basis.
with a texture and consistency like banana skin, but is covered in um, like spikes, like not sharp, but
Not that I would care, I have hide.
right, it would not harm you, but a sort of spiked structure to it with a banana peel like feel to the outside.
And color?
It's about the color of like like that green yellow shade of a banana that's not quite ripe yet.
I pick it up and open it with my claw.
Okay, so you
Look at
gouge
the interior.
into this thing, and juice sort of sprays out as many of the exotic fruits of this area and this continent are well, perhaps not the entire continent, but anything that grows here is designed to retain as much water as it possibly can, and the coloration of the flesh of this fruit is like a pale, like a pineapple-esque sort of
Yeah, I'm not gonna taste
coloration.
it. Yeah, I'm not gonna taste it. I take my left index claw and rummage around and getting so much gunk and such on the claw. Then I take out a piece of hide and draw on it to see if this very garish looking fruit leaves any good color.
Ah, just the fruit juice itself.
I first that and then get a lot of gunk on the claw and then draw hard lines
It's
on
it's
the
it's a bit
vellum.
too watery to just like if you just take your claw in there and like put it on a page to stick, if you will. But do you have
I have grades
any
in art history and outdoorsman. Not that I have a specialization in herbalism or anything like that, but
um
I might be
I'll
able
let
to
you roll
find.
for like artistry as you've learned in your travels how to create some dyes and stuff. I believe was specified in your backstory. So I will let you
Oh,
roll
first.
our first dice roll, like
Yeah.
3.5 hours in,
Mm-hmm.
which is great.
Well, it should be. Well done, Nick.
5. That's 4 and 5 plus 3.
I believe you had your enlightenment.
Yes,
Yes.
so 8 plus
While he's calculating his roll,
13.
I'll let you go.
Not on its own, but perhaps you might be able to grind up like the skin of this fruit with some other like like the right amount of water, and if you perhaps ground up the skin to this fruit, you might be able to make a sort of like a pale yellow sort of or like a no, it's the whatever the the name for the color of a blue-green is escaping me, but that's sort of coloration, which is not something currently in your
Teal.
repertoire. Yeah, something like that. You
Oh,
would probably be able to do that.
And then I take about 3 or 4 of these fruits and flay them, essentially. Take
Okay.
this, maybe drop, who's eating the fruit? Nias, and I drop 4 peeled fruits in front of Nia.
Oh, you like give to her the like peeling in orange, like here's the
Yeah, I take
Okay.
the peel and give her the actual fruit.
Okay.
And then I put it in my backpack.
Well, yeah,
And then actually,
I've eaten like 3 very large grapes compared to I'm just feeling full, but also very energetic as this sugar courses through my body. And once again, with no concept of table manners, I get Bill to lower me down. And I bring this sort of bunch of grapes which has some eaten off it, and I lower it back to the place I found it. And then I walk like amongst this sort of bowls of food and walk over to the Freyin lady in charge, and I say, "Thank you very much for this kind gift of food. Those fruits were most excellent, like none I'd never tasted before. Thank you. May light shine upon you." And I sort of like nod my head towards her, this little sort of sprite standing on the table in front of where she sits.
and about
Yes,
then, 3 peeled fruits were put in front of you.
Perhaps food for later for
Oh, no, friend. I'm most full already. There's no possible way I could fit any more.
Uh,
Dill will
They-
take the skin fruits and put them in one of his satchels for you to consume later. Then, knowing you,
It's like a week's worth of food. There.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry, I know there's no weeks.
sprites don't
7
eat
days
much
worth of
even
food.
for their size. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but
And I take the peels and look interested at them, and put them in like a horn of some form of cattle that I have hollowed out and put a lid on. Just put them in there, and then put that horn in the backpack.
to be used for later also.
Mhm.
Perhaps some new inks for to tell of this day. Perhaps record the passage. Yes, there are many exotic things that grow on this strange continent to the south. Well, as far as south to us, perhaps not to his kind, as he looks in the direction of the Sirush.
A perception of 5, I probably noticed that she gestures at me, at which I look at her. Like, did you want something? I saw you gesture at me.
And she, as if she didn't notice that you noticed her looking at you, just goes back to talking mainly with Landul, as if she made no perceiving of your look. But
I look upon her, continues for about 3 seconds, lingering, cock my head, reptilian as and seeing nothing coming of it, I go look for some place to sit. If there's no chair or anything such things, I will sit on the floor, and then
there are chairs, but not
my size.
chairs.
And also, yeah, their chairs will probably not account for my tail.
No.
My gator tail. As I sit then on the floor and start pulling out my paint supplies, mortal and pestle.
There are
so I
like
can
side
grind it.
areas, and there's like a again, exotic and weird though this architecture is, it is well constructed. There is like a sort of a outcropping, as this is sort of like on this second story, or second floor, quote unquote. There is like a sort of a shallow balcony or window area to look out of and sit upon, if you wish to be in the sun or out of it. There are plenty of spaces, even for one of your size, to spread out and
Being a
relax.
lizard or dracoid, I do greatly enjoy the warmth upon my skin, and I will put the peels out there, which I think,
Maybe I can make the color of me with this.
the wolf goes through my mind and take out all the supplies. I think I can dry them and grind that. As I sit out there on the floor, out on the balcony, and look in at me, at the others, and probably completely oblivious to their talks of slavery and other things of trade and commerce, as I sit on the balcony grinding powder.
This is probably quite a boring conversation to you, or one that may go over your head as Sulve drones on to Landul on matters of business and of trade and of financial concerns and such things that and in, I guess, of course it would go over your head anyway because she's speaking Dazzays.
Yeah, I don't understand a word, and she will hear the constant me grinding powders on her balcony.
Strange activities coming from other rooms. And the Freyin woman seems to do her best to ignore whatever strange sounds within reason come from your scrivening preparations, and continues to our Freyin companion. Well, if you were to begin your work here, trying to assist us in growing our holdings and increasing the prosperity of our presence here, there are some things you should know. I don't wish to imply that I know I have all the answers or I know which route to take. As I said, we Freyin are outnumbered here, and gaining the trust of any caravans or customers or agreements of any sort has been a difficult and uphill battle, as say what you will about the Darklings, they are good at what they do, and what they do is trade and commerce, and they have their claws cooked very thoroughly in this place. Those and the Typhons.
More than once I've been undercut by a Darkling, and I'm sure it was through no legal or good means that they managed to achieve this.
No doubt, and just our lack of kindness towards them is felt just as strongly, if not more so, by them, and there are more of them than there are of us. But
Must tread carefully then.
as I say, this city was constructed initially to facilitate trade between the Sirens and the Kalfar. But as you can see, it's become something more. I don't know how it happened. Perhaps some blessing of Arshay, his gaze perhaps fell upon this small patch of the desert here on the coast and decided to somehow bless it with a booming trade hub. It seems amazing that any settlement of any notable size would still remain here in this land where nothing grows. But such as it is.
It is indeed a curious spot for a city, indeed. But trade tends to breed more trade, I've learned. So it is not surprising that it continues to grow as long as there are still customers.
It's true, and for all its alien design and somewhat disreputable population, there are, in many ways, this is as the name would imply, new lands for exchanging of goods, and there is still room for new innovation, you might say. I think I've tried to compete directly with some of the trading consortium's holdings. That was a mistake. I don't believe we, such as we are, will be able to directly compete with anything that is firmly and wholly established. If we are to grow, we need to find
New enterprise, perhaps. Perhaps a new enterprise, if we could. Something.
My thoughts exactly. We need to find something that no one else has capitalized upon.
That is quite troubling. I assume that none of our goods that we already have available, they must already be here in abundance. Is there any can you think of any objects or items that are greatly sought after in this city, that any high demand items? Perhaps we can figure out a way to obtain some of these.
Unfortunately, a lot of our goods, as you know, are in agriculture. We do a lot of business in Ipifnul trading textiles. Textiles keep, but food less so. Most foods, anyway.
Food is difficult to transport. Perhaps I will venture into the city and see for myself what sort of goods are desired most.
Yes. The things people need on this continent are different in many ways than what is needed up north. The makeup is different. The old kingdoms and political boundaries, ill-defined as they might be, some areas, are simply not present here. And there are, well, I spoke of there not being many Freyine here in Newport, and that's true. There are only a handful. But I have heard, I have not actually seen any of these people, but I understand there is a large Freyine community that wanders the desert of Ash. They're different somehow, I am told. As I say, I have not seen any. They trade with the city, but only sparingly. They seem to keep their distance. There are only a few caravans that meet with their merchants. I've tried to to initiate talks. After all, if there is a Freyine community, one even separated by such distance, we are kin for sure, and clearly and most certainly they would wish to trade with their own kind more so than a city that is, if not in population, then in makeup and in dogma, completely dominated by the disgusting Kalfar and brutal sirens.
Quite right. This Freyine tribe, do you know if there are any of their caravans in the city now?
There are. They do other business. This roaming community, I don't even know what the correct word is, only comes to the city once, only a handful of times every cycle. In fact, I believe they only approached three times last cycle. And they never enter the city. As I say, they are met by caravans of their choosing, who must have established a relationship over a long period of time. I've never heard of a group of people so aloof and reticent to do business.
Yes, it is quite strange, especially for Freyine. But I believe if we can find these people, surely we, as kindred spirits, can convince them that they would be much better off to trade with us. I think this perhaps should be our first recourse to perhaps try to gain some sort of trade advantage over these Kalfar. I say that with a tinge of disgust in my voice.
Well, I accept your expertise, as that is, I am here to listen to and to abide your suggestions as best I can in these matters. I do not know when the next time they will arrive, but it should not be a great deal of time longer. If they keep to the similar sort of schedule they have kept in cycles past, perhaps in a chain or so they may yet visit again.
Excellent. Well, while we wait, I will investigate the city, see what I can learn of our competition and of this Freyine tribe. If there is anything to be discovered, they seem quite quite secretive from your description. So we will see what secrets the city holds.
And assuming you can keep your companions from becoming too ornery, I would suggest you at least travel in the company, noting that you have no weapon at your belt, unless you do. I don't believe.
I have my Kopesh.
Okay,
but
my
it's,
apologies.
It's not. It hasn't
That's what you
seen
did
use.
say. It was an iron Kopesh. I apologize.
You
But
also
nevertheless,
said it was like company standard, didn't you?
Yeah, it's
Okay, I have
standard
my
with the
prestige.
company logo.
yes, standard issue mercantile Kopesh.
Yes.
It would be wise, I think, to travel at least until you get a lay of the land, so to speak, with either the Sarush or the Ogre. Although the Sarush hail from this continent, perhaps he would know more of some of the peoples you are likely to meet. Although not all species are native to this place. I've seen there is a temple, a joint temple to the enforcers. There are a number of Iktomi who service that place. They are, of course, a familiar sight in the north. Not in Rodaland, but...
Yes. Well, I have found a sort of glance at Dil and Hunre Zumilra. I have found that it can be quite beneficial in trade to have security. Yes. I especially when they are appear quite so formidable.
No. And she sort of takes you aside a bit, so she knows at least the sprite can understand Dazazay's. Where did you find these three? What? Not to be presumptuous, but what?
Well,
What point do they serve?
You might not have noticed this about me, but I'm much more of the talking and negotiating type. If it came to blows, I'm not much help. I have some very basic training, but I would not rely upon it, let alone ask the company to rely upon it. I found that it pays greatly to have other people around who can protect me and our goods, should it come to that. I like to find the most formidable looking people tend to be best for this task, because the best way, rather than be attacked and have to defend myself, I would rather they just took one look and decided they'd rather not attack.
I can understand that reasoning.
It
What
has
of
served me
the,
well in the past.
She glances over at the sprite, which is sort of.
I've curled up in front of where you used to be sitting, and my belly full from these delicious grapes, and I sort of lay down with the intent to sort of just look at her and listen, but immediately the conversation starts of talks of trade and movement of goods, and I have this thought, if they start talking numbers, there's no way I'll be able to keep my eyes open. But just that thought of mathematics and instantly sends me to sleep. And as this conversation, as they sort of veer off to talk, the sort of silken cocoon sort of wraps around me as I enter the dreamlands. And like all of my dreams, since the taking of my family, I've run through this field of stalks, and each stalk like has a bulb at the end of it representing like the dreams of other creatures, and I just run frantically through this field, though not taking care not to disturb any of the stalks. I run frantically, looking at each bulb, looking for my brothers, looking for my father. That is my dream. Most likely, back in the real world, Dill has gently picked my cocoon up and tucked me into the grass basket that hangs on his back.
Well, it has been a long journey for you, for certain. I do not wish to keep you much longer. I should let you get settled in. You have, of course, accommodations here. There are... I can arrange for rooms for your companions. I may have to clear out some things for the ogre and the Sarush to fit, but it can be done.
You are too kind, my lady.
Well, and by this time, the light of Hura Mazda is dimming, and the purples and reds and oranges of twilight begin to spill out from sort of painting the sky with these colors, which can be seen from the windows of this this area, this sort of gathering room, which making the lighting in here a strange, otherworldly, take on a sort of otherworldly quality, as soon night will fall, and with that, with having all of our catalysts arriving at their destination, this strange city on the edge of a barren desert, a desert of blackened ash rather than sand, and having met each other with some interesting motivations and some goals for the days and chains to come, I believe we will end the first session, but not before anyone who wishes to participate in a soliloquy may do so and reflect upon the experiences of these recent days.
Elias, do you want to go first? You've had the longest gap between having the spotlight. Is he there?
He's there. You might be muted. I'm not sure.
Nice. I think I can see him.
His camera is all black. He's embracing
dark
perfection.
In the meantime, while he gets things, if either Nay or Landul would like to do a soliloquy, you may do so.
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. So my dream of rushing through the fields of the Dreamlands, looking for the thoughts of my family, my three brothers, Podu and Star, and my father T. Think of all the shared memories and what would they be dreaming of? I think of the old vines that my brothers used to care. I think of the most important and vivid and joyful memory that I have, that of by the campfire, as my mother and father would play out songs and stage acts. Now, as I'm getting to see more of the world, I can see that there was lessons in many of these songs, an underlying message like treating your neighbours well or being kind to those others. Things that seem natural to me are now starting to learn that not everyone shares these same ideas, and just the thought of lying snuggled up between my three brothers listening to the performances of my father and mother, sort of filled with regret of not acting when the slavers came, even though I know there was probably not much I could do. My thoughts then moved to Dill, my friend, my protector, my brother, and most important of all, my friend, the one who acted when this horrible day came. I think of where I would be without him, most likely no longer of this world. So as I stroll through this field, I searching for my dreams of my brothers and my father, I'm unable to find them, and I awake the same way I have for many chains, searching for them, unable to find them. So I do wake with a little bit more hope than I previously had, as I'm in the city that I heard them to be taken to. Dill is still with me. We've met this Freyine man of interest in trade and powerful connections, but most importantly, this huge Sarush of fearsome standing has pledged to help me, and for that I will be forever grateful. And even though these thoughts of my family and being reunited with them are the most overpowering thought, there's the keen interest of learning this language and this song that put him on his path to what he calls perfection. And I sing that song I sung earlier to Dill, easing him into sleep, and I lay back on his belly, thinking about the friends I've made, thinking about this new place, also the sirens, but mainly my family. And that's it.
Nice. I found him on if Eli's. Are you here? Yeah, Eli?
Elias?
Elias.
Well,
I don't know
hopefully
what happened to him.
he comes back. Would Landul like to?
Yeah, I'm in my room that I've sort of been appointed. I'll just sort of I'll walk to the window or the balcony and look out over the city, and I'm sort of I think to myself, this city is it's far more the environment is a lot more like hostile than I had anticipated, and it's going to be a lot harder to do business here than I previously thought. I'm quite concerned because I know that I need to make a good impression if I want to continue my rise through the company, and like to fail here is just to be relegated into nothingness. That's probably my only chance. But I am this Freyine tribe. that I heard about. They sound I'm quite curious about them. I think that they might be the key to establishing a strong foothold, but until I know more, I'm uncertain. I think that I've acquired some useful compatriots. The ogre, particularly, I think will be of use because he can carry heavy things and they are quite intimidating. But again, the Sarush is more intimidating even than the ogre, and sometimes intimidation, even if it's only implied, can be extremely useful when negotiating. So I'm a bit cautious about his his nature, simply because he's a giant alligator man, and probably don't want to trust a giant alligator man right off the bat. But I think so far he's shown nothing but goodness. he doesn't see there's nothing like too untoward about him that I've noticed. And the small sprite, again, she doesn't really seem very useful, but I haven't heard her voice. So perhaps she is as good at singing as she seems as her kind is renowned for being. I think about these things as I sort of look out over the city and the black ash wasteland beyond, and then I turn around and go back to my apartment or room thing. Yeah, that's my one.
Nice.
Excellent.
Where's this Sarush gotten to?
I don't know. I would hate to end without giving him an opportunity for a soliloquy. I can't. His screen is there. I see his lower third, and clearly we can
Maybe
see
he's like,
his
what
room.
time was it over there? Wasn't it like 1 a.m. when we started?
For him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 5 a.m. there now. You think he wouldn't have just fallen asleep though?
I don't think he fell asleep though. That would be.
Maybe he's really in character. His character is asleep, having a bit of a rest.
Well, we could always open next session.
Next
with
time we can open with his soliloquy.
And because it's recorded, he can catch up with what he missed. So that's a good thing about that.
Elia, we apologize if you are around and just you can't get to. We don't know what's going on, but we'll start with you next time. But that being said, I think we're going to sign off. Thanks, all you guys for playing, and thanks to all of you out there for watching. Hope everybody had a good time and enjoyed themselves. So
yeah, great job, Alex.
For session 2.
Nick,
That was
Nick,
really
that
good.
was great. You gave so much information and painted the scene. It was doing very well. Thanks. That was awesome.
That was
All right.
only my
Have a good night or good morning to anybody out there. Take care.
See y'all.
See ya.